Cool. So I've got a really interesting statistic on my screen here. Give me a one again if you can see this on my screen. Just put a quick one in the chat box if you can see that statistic. Cool. So that statistic says the average marketing spend is 8.7%. So the average spend of a company on marketing is 8.7% of the revenue. And this was a recent survey. I just came across this done by CMO and Duke University as of this year. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So let's kind of take a look at that. So if a company's pulling in $500,000 in revenue, that means they're going to probably spend around $43,500. Okay? $43,500. Who thinks that's insane? Does that sound like awesome? I mean, us as marketers should get excited about that because obviously we can, hopefully grab a piece of that, right? Edgar says, "Well, I'm happy I got in. It was telling me it reached its max capacity." Yeah, definitely don't leave, guys. We're at max capacity. So if you leave, you probably won't get back in. All right, so I'm just going to be straightforward with you. This is my promise to you during this webinar, during this call. These are the takeaways that you're going to be able to get out of this. Number one, how you can take home a nice chunk of that marketing spend. Okay. Number two, how I'm getting business owners to pay me on average $1,000 per month using my Google My Business lease model. So I'll show you kind of how I leverage that and how I lease assets rather than just, hope that they pay me every month. And then number three, how you can find a market that even a total beginner can compete in. Okay, so I see someone says 8% seems low. Yeah, that's just the average. So I mean, sometimes companies are spending more and sometimes less, but nonetheless, I mean, I still think it's pretty impressive. There's a lot of money on the table for the taking for us marketers, as long as you know how to position a good offer and a valuable service, which is what I'm going to lay out for you. So I like to give a special bonus to those who are attentive and who are going to stay till the end. So I'm going to have a special bonus for you guys at the end of it. Just remind me if I forget. But I've got it written down, so I shouldn't. But I'm going to give you a guided checklist that's going to help you take action and implement all this stuff, because what good is all this training if you guys don't actually take action on it and implement it? So I think that'll help out with that. So that's just a special bonus for sticking around with me until the end. So I highly recommend you grab a notepad and pen. We're going to be moving pretty fast tonight. I've got a lot of stuff to cover. I've actually got 2 pages of notes in front of me. So we've really got a lot to cover. So you want to make sure you're taking notes. All right, cool. Let's jump right into it. So I know we've got some new folks on here who've never been to my webinars before. So this is just the brief introduction. I'm not going to go into a 15-minute spiel of who I am, but I'm Paul James. That's me on the screen. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Been doing internet marketing now for 4+ years or so. I did 6 figures my very first year as a beginner, so that's an accomplishment I'm pretty proud of. But I failed miserably at first. When I started, I was $35,000 in debt. I was going to school full-time to become a nurse, so that's kind of how I racked up all the debt and student loans and stuff like that. And I was working part-time at Walmart. I just wasn't happy at all with where I was in life. I wasn't looking forward to graduating and then having to get a job and, paying down that $35,000 in debt. Just didn't seem like a very reasonable task given the salary that I would probably start off making. So I went and I started experimenting with local marketing and learned how to do SEO. And actually when I started, this is the car I was driving. I was driving a 1994 Nissan Maxima, and I was living in my brother's garage. So that was exactly a little over 4 years ago. And then 2 years later, I was able to pull off one of my, dreams. I always dreamed of having a Mercedes-Benz car. So I went out and looked at the SUVs and picked out the most decked out model that I could find. And I was actually able to buy my first house too at 24 years old. So just some accomplishments I'm pretty proud of and was able to pull off in a short amount of time, I think, given the circumstances. And I'm just showing you this because this is just kind of inspirational, and hopefully, you can see that this kind of thing is possible. I've done it. And, if I can do it, I'd like to hope that I can show you how to do it too, and hopefully shortcut that learning curve. So, quick earnings disclaimer. While this is possible, obviously I can't guarantee that you'll have the same results as me or any results at all by using the information I'm going to share, because I don't know you, I don't know your experience, and I don't know your work ethic. But one thing I do know for sure that I can guarantee is that without taking action, you can expect to stay exactly where you are right now. So that's my guarantee for you. No, David, that Mercedes is not for sale. I love it. Sitting in my garage right now, and absolutely love it. I don't drive it much in winter, though, because I don't like it to get full of snow. Lots of snow here in Wisconsin. Okay, so we'll come back to this slide later. That's a little exercise. For now, I want to jump off the PowerPoint presentation and hop right into the nitty-gritty. I don't like to stay on PowerPoint for too long because I know when I attend webinars that bores me. So let's just jump into it and kind of outline what a Google My Business example is. And I'll just kind of show you just for those who don't know. So I'm going to pop into Google here and I'm going to type in cleaning service. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my location. So instead of typing the location, I could do that. I'm going to hit search tools, and where it says West Bend, Wisconsin, I'm going to select this and type in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, because that's the area I just want to show you this example. Okay, so typical Google search, we've got our ads up here in the yellow, and on the right hand side, people develop banner blindness to those ads. So it's pay per click. But then over here we have this little 7 box of listings here, and this is referred to as a 7-pack. You won't always see 7, sometimes you'll see 3, sometimes you'll see 5. But this stands out, okay? People really notice this. Now, let's do a little example here, a little experiment. If you had to call a cleaning service, let's say, and you wanted to start looking into one of these companies, or maybe you just pick up the phone and call, which one would grab your attention? You can just say like the letter A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and use the map markers if you want. Put that in the chat box. Okay, everyone says C, Maid Brigade, because of the reviews, because of the star rating. So as you can see, your eyes naturally jump to that. And this is the service that I've been providing for business owners. So let me tell you some of the advantages of Google My Business and why I think it's better than pay-per-click and just regular SEO too in general. This would be the regular SEO down here at the bottom. It's highlighting everything, but this would be the regular SEO. Just kind of looks boring, right? But up here, you see contact details and stuff. So some of the advantages why I think Google My Business is better is because local SEO is national competition. Like if you try to rank here in this stuff, you're ranking against national competition. Anyone can rank there. But with Google My Business, you notice there's addresses next to most of them. And that's because you need a local address to compete. So not only is it easier, but it eliminates, 95% of your competition. Who do you think we're competing against? Put it in the chat box if you can guess who we're competing with in this 7-pack of listings. Most of the time, local business owners, right? Unless they hire someone like me or someone like you after we're done with this webinar, we're competing with local business owners. Pretty much we're going to win every time. And because your eyes jump to it, it just generates more leads. And, just as a beginner, if you're just starting out at this is the way to go because it's very beginner friendly. Let's talk about the downsides of it. There are some downsides. I know it sounds kind of like there wouldn't be, but there are some downsides. So since the listing is the business owners, because it's their address technically, you have no ownership rights over it, right? You can't own this because it's the business owner's name, it's their address. So what do you guys think the solution is to that? If you want to use Google My Business, what's the solution if we can't own it? We could hope that the client pays us every month after we get them ranked, after we place them in the 7-pack. Okay, it's leasing it. Okay, but you can't lease the listing because you're using the business owner's address. So what do you think you can lease? What do you think you have control over? You can control the website. You can own the website and you can own the phone number. Okay, so The website, the work that you do to this website primarily controls how the listing ranks. So if you have control over the website, well, then you can lease that to them. And same with the phone number. You can lease a tracking phone number. You own that phone number and you lease it to them. So that's how you want to position it. The other solution number 2 is you could create your own listing with a generic business name, and you could keep everything and just sell the leads. So that's a little bit more advanced. So that would mean going out and finding an address that you can use. Can't use a PO box, but that would mean going and finding an address that you can use, whether it be a virtual office or, friend's address or something like that, or pay someone to use their address. And then you would create, a generic business name. So instead of, Lori Maid G LLC, we would just call it, like Professional Cleaning Services or something like that, or AAA Cleaning Services. Okay? And then we would own the whole thing. So both solutions are great, but that's kind of what you need to think about. Does that make sense? Give me a 1 in the chat box if that makes perfect sense. Okay, awesome. So let's talk about how we create these listings and find out if they're claimed or not. It's a pretty simple process, actually. So you're going to head to this URL. It's google.com/business. And I'm going to paste that in the chat box as well. But you can just write it down on your notepad, google.com/business. And you'll need to have a Gmail account set up in order to do this. And I recommend setting up a brand new Gmail account for each client that you work with, just to kind of keep things separate. Okay, so I'm landing here on my dashboard, but in most cases, you're not going to land there. You're going to land on this page. And it's going to give you 3 different choices: a storefront, service area, or brand. Okay, so primarily, we're never going to be using brand. We're going to always be using storefront and service area. So a storefront would be like, like a dentist. People go into the location, whereas a service area would be where you're going out to the customer. So like a heating and cooling company or something like that. Okay, so let's just roll with the service area example. So now we're going to be presented with this screen. It's a big, giant map. Okay, and you want to go and start by punching in the business's address or phone number or whatever information you have. So I normally just like to search by phone number. And I'm going to show you some of the different scenarios we come across. So I'm going to type in a phone number here. You can see it pulled up the listing, and I'll try to zoom in on this a little bit more. It pulled up the listing, and when I click on it, it pops up this dialog. Someone else has already verified this listing. So what that means is that there's already a listing there. The business owner has likely already claimed it, or someone else has. And basically, if you want to take control over it and be able to manage it and optimize it and get it ranked, you just click this blue button. An email will be sent out to the business owner with a link to verify that they want to give you access over it, and then you'll be able to make changes to it. So this scenario is really easy. So that's one scenario that we see pretty often. Another scenario we see is when we punch in the phone number. We're presented with listings, and this is actually a really good example because in this case, there's duplicate listings. So when you come across a listing that has duplicate listings, where there's more than one of them, the solution is you need to claim them all. You need to get them all claimed and verified, and then you want to delete the ones that you're not using. So, maybe check and see which one's indexed by just Googling the name, and if you see it pop up, then that's the one you want to keep, and then delete the other ones. But let me show you this scenario. So let's say this was the business I was working with. I click on it, and now it's saying, okay, we need to create the Google Plus page so you can manage it. Please confirm that you're authorized to manage this business. So we'll click that and we'll hit continue. And what's going to happen is it's going to give us some verification options. It says they can either call us with a verification code or mail it to us. So let me explain to you what those 2 options are. If they can call you with the code, they're going to call you at the number that's listed, and you just let your client know, hey, Google's going to be calling, write down the code for me, and then call me right back with it. So if you can do that, that's great. You're verified right away instantly, and you don't have to wait. But in a lot of cases, you need to get the code mailed to you, and that takes 1 to 2 weeks. So that's okay too, but that's just another scenario you'll run across. So this is kind of like the first steps, is getting the listing claimed and verified. And in the case of duplicate listings, you want to claim and verify them all, and then delete the ones that are duplicates. Okay, so what happens if your listing isn't found at all? Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so I've entered it in correctly and it didn't find it. I'm going to click this little thing here, this button. Now it's going to give me the option to go ahead and create it. So this is great. Let me just walk through this process with you. It's very straightforward. So we're going to enter in the business name. So let's just say it's let's just say AA Plumbing Pros or something like that. Let's do Heating Pros. Okay, you're going to enter in a street address. No PO boxes. If there's a suite number because they're in an office building or something like that, you can type out the full word suite on the next line here, or you can just punch in the number sign like that, number 123. Okay, so I'm going to just leave it as 123 Water Street. We'll punch in the city, punch in the state. I'm in Wisconsin, so select that. Punch in the zip code, and then the main business phone number. You can always change this phone number later when you set up a tracking phone number. So for now, you can just use the business owner's number or whatever. It doesn't really matter, but you can change that later. Okay, so we're good to go. The next box you see is category. So this is pretty important because you want to build out your website in a way where it kind of emphasizes your categories on Google My Business. So what I like to do is I like to have a notepad beside me while I'm creating these listings, and I like to write down the categories. And the way I find them out is I just start typing in key phrases that I think people would categorize a heating and cooling company under. So I might start off by typing in HVAC, which stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And you'll notice I'm presented with this drop-down box that says HVAC contractor. So I'll write that down if that fits what they do, and then I'm going to delete it and try again. So let's try heating. Okay, I'm presented with heating contractor, heating equipment supplier, heating oil supplier. So I would write down on the notepad all the ones that fit. So on and so forth. Furnace, write down all the ones that fit. So when you create the listing from scratch, you can only roll with one of them to start with. But after the listing is up and running, you can come back in and you can add in as many categories as you want. But since we're going to be waiting 1 to 2 weeks for the postcard to come, you want to have your categories picked out so that we can work on the website in the meantime. All right, so that's category research in a nutshell. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I think it's kind of self-explanatory. All right, so next is this checkbox. Do you deliver goods and services to customers at their location? So check that if that's true, like a heating company goes out and visits, businesses at their location. If it's not true, then you can uncheck it. But in my case, it's true, so I'm just going to hit continue. All right, so if I check that, it's going to give me options to either punch in each area code that I service. So I can punch in the zip codes for them individually, just like this. Or an easier way is to just say, okay, I service within a 20-mile, let me hit continue again, I accidentally hit back. I service a 20-mile radius around my business. Okay, so you can ask your client what the radius is that they serve, and then you're good to go. I wouldn't recommend going further than like 40 to 50 mile radius because in most cases you're going to end up in another city. And if that's the case, you probably want to look at creating another listing in that city to get kind of the maximum benefit. Okay, but I'll just leave 20 in there, and then there's also this option. I also serve customers at my business address. So think of like a flower shop. They've got people coming in to their office. They also deliver for funerals, weddings, and that kind of thing, right? So I would probably check this box in that scenario, but I'm not going to check it because heating and cooling company likely doesn't service customers at, at their location. Like they don't have customers coming in really. Okay, so also leaving this box unchecked will also hide your address. So let's go back to the cleaning company example. Do you see how some companies have their address here? And then some, it just says Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So if you leave this box checked, it's going to show your address. If you leave it unchecked, it'll just show the city. So if you are going to go the route of creating a lead generation listing and you're going to leave it like a generic business name, you probably don't want the address showing, right? Because you don't want people coming to your location since there's really not going to be anyone there most likely. All right, so I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to say we're authorized to manage this business. And it's going to look the same, and then it's going to give us our verification options. Pretty simple. Okay, so any questions on this right now? I'll take a couple questions, and of course we'll do a longer question and answer session at the end. Okay, I'm just looking through the questions here. Okay, Blaine says, do we keep ownership of the Gmail account? You do. You keep ownership of the Gmail account, so that's why I recommend that you create new Gmail accounts for each client you work with. Okay, someone said, but what if the business owner already has a website? It's totally fine, and I'm going to show you how we're going to handle the website, but basically you're going to build out an entirely separate website just for the purpose of ranking in the 7-pack. You can leave their existing website intact, but we're going to just create a separate one, and we're going to link it up with the listing. Okay, cool. So I'll take some more questions as we get going and towards the end. So if I don't answer it now, there's a lot of questions coming in. I'll try to get to them at the end. So the tracking phone number, if you're wondering where to get that at, the way tracking phone numbers work is basically someone calls the number and it immediately forwards off to your client. So it's not like you're having to answer phones or anything like that. And the phone numbers are pretty cheap. Like at CallFire, I think they're $3 for a one-time charge, and then they charge you like $1 per month after that. And that allows you to see who called, when they called, how long they stayed on the phone for, and all that good stuff. And you can print off reports and send those to your clients, and it's just really helpful. So CallFire is an option. Twilio is also an option. I recommend Twilio if you're like out of the United States. So if you're in Australia or United Kingdom or something like that. CallFire I don't think supports over there, so probably have to go Twilio. But if you're in the United States, I like CallFire a lot, so that's kind of what I've been using. Okay, cool. So let's talk about the website now, since we saw some questions about that. Let me get off of these screens here. So because we're creating a new website, it's always easier if you can find a website that's aged, or a domain name that's aged, meaning someone created it and let it expire. So if you can find that, that's great, because it's going to be faster to rank. Typically, we see if we can get a site that's already aged, that we're ranking in about 2 weeks. If we can't pick up a site that's already aged, then it takes about a month. Okay, so that's just the average. Don't hold me to those numbers, but typical. That's just kind of typical of what we see. So you can look for an aged domain. And the key with this is, like, let's say you're working with bobsplumbing.com. You just want to find a site that you can brand that domain name generically for. So like if we had to create it from scratch, we might go with like AAAplumbing.com or something like that, right? Because it sounds like a generic company, but we can still brand the site to their logo, their pictures, their about us. We can still have their information on the site, but the domain name is generic. So if Bob ever decides that he's not going to pay us anymore, we can easily just take that site and rebrand it to someone else because the domain name doesn't say bobsplumbing.com. Give me a 1 if that makes sense, if you understand that. Okay? So it's the domain name that has to be, generic. Okay, cool. So if you can find an expired domain name and it still sounds generic, doesn't always happen. I would say 30% of the time you can, maybe even 20% of the time you can, and about 80% of the time you can't. So it's more likely that you won't find an aged domain, but sometimes you can. Sometimes you get lucky. So I like this site, prdrop.info. And what you can do is you can come in here and type in a keyword, like you could type in like plumber, or let's try attorney. You could type in like attorney, and it'll show you if there's any domains with attorney in it. In this case, there's not. Say, let's try plumber. So like I said, a lot of the times you're just not going to find anything. And even with the keywords, you might have to take some time to like sift through them and see really what you can find. Okay, so I typed in water. So Edgewater, Oregon, that could probably work for something. Healing water machines, probably not. Okay, so the key is you're just kind of looking for something generic. So you have to take time and sift through these domains. And one of these might work for you. You just never know. Like I don't know. I'm just kind of looking in here. Okay. Anyways, that's just something that I like to do. Also, Moonsy.com. They have an expired domain section where you can do the same thing. And these are all age domains. It shows the age right here. There's an age column. So this one's 2 years old, 1 year old. I really don't care how old it is as long as it's like more than a year, because then it's aged and, you know, typically easier to rank. Okay, but like I said, most of the time you're not going to get this lucky. Okay, sometimes you will, but most of the time you're not, and you're going to have to register a new domain. So if you have to register a new domain, you want it to be generic. There's a quick way to do that. I use flawlessurl.com. All right, flawlessurl.com. So you might want to write that down. And what you do is you just enter in your keyword. So let's say we're working with carpet cleaning. So we'll type in carpet cleaning. And then you can select if you want an SEO-friendly domain name, which means it'll make sure like it's like SEO friendly, or you can put popular prepends or appends on the end of it. So let's just try that. Hit generate domain, and it'll come up with a bunch of ideas for you, like acarpetcleaning.com, and it'll tell you if it's available or not. Okay, so that's kind of cool. Helps you quickly pick out a domain name. Does that make sense? Give me a 1 in the chat box if you guys are good with this, if this makes sense. Awesome. Cool. So from here, let's talk about the website. How do you want to structure one of these websites? I'm going to click off of here, and I'm going to pull open a diagram for you to check out. People really seem to like these flow charts, so let me put that on the screen there for you. So the way you should think of this flow chart that I have is each box on this chart is a separate page on the website. Okay, so each box is a separate page on the website. Now I know a lot of us internet marketers are using WordPress, which is great, and page or post in WordPress, it doesn't matter whether you create it as a post or a page, but I typically just do pages because it's easier to kind of manage and keep track of. Okay, so your home page, you can include keywords on there if you want. It's always a good idea, but really the idea of the home page, what do you think is the idea of the home page? The main idea of the home page, what do you want to do? Put it in the chat box if you know. Yeah, convert the lead. You want to convert the traffic, right? What good does the website do if no one's calling you up or no one's filling out your form? So that's primarily what we focus on the home page. But after the home page, we create these separate pages on the site, and we really do those just for the point of optimizing. So each arrow is basically a link to the next page. So on the home page, in this example, I would have 3 links going to the next pages. And then in this example, in the orange box, I would have 1 link going to this next purple box, right? So each page is interconnected. So if you follow it, it goes in like one big circle, the whole website. So I just put a simple link going to the next page on the site in my article somewhere or at the bottom of my page, except for on the home page. The home page has 3 links linking to each different column. So this is referred to as a silo. And the way I like to silo out my sites for Google My Business is I like to put my most important keywords at the top, and then my lesser important keywords. I don't like to say my least favorite keywords or something like that because they're all really important, you know. But the most important ones you want to be at the top of this silo, and then the least important ones go towards the bottom. Okay, so how do you categorize that? How do you categorize the importance? Anyone have any ideas of how you might categorize the importance of these keywords when you're building out your site and when you're linking these pages together? Who has an idea? Okay, I see some people saying search volume, competition, PPC value, number of searches. All really good answers, but let's kind of break down and go through my kind of order of operations, I guess you could say, my priority list. So this is kind of my priority list. Number 1, does it pull a 7-pack? Does it pull a 7-pack? Okay, because if it doesn't pull a 7-pack, cleaning service does. When I type in cleaning service, it pulls a 7-pack. But if it didn't, how important is that keyword going to be for me? I mean, the whole goal of this for me, the whole goal of why I'm doing this is to rank in the 7-pack. So that's like my number one thing. So also your categories. I see Mike mentioned categories in the chat box. Your categories oftentimes are going to be the keywords that pull up your 7-pack. So that's a good place to start. But it's not the only place to look at. The next thing is what you guys mentioned, monthly search volume, and then after that, cost per click. So this is kind of my order of operations. You guys should write this down on your notepad. Okay? Does it pull a 7-pack, then monthly search volume, and then cost per click? Okay, so do you guys need me to run through kind of how you look up monthly search volume, or are you guys good with that? Give me a 1 in the chat box if you want me to show you. Give me a 2 if you're good. Okay, I see a lot of 1s. So I'll just do a quick demo for you guys. So you can just use Google's free keyword planner. You just go to adwords.google.com, come up to tools, select keyword planner, and then we'll hit search for new keyword and ad group ideas. And then you would just come in here and type in your keywords. So let's just say we're working with a garage door company. So I might type in garage door repair, garage door installation. We'll put Milwaukee on the end of these too, our geo target. Garage door installation, garage door companies maybe. So I would come up with as many of these ideas as I could think of. Maybe even throw in Google Plus categories in here and then append Milwaukee on it. And then I'll just hit search. And we'll hit keyword ideas, this tab right here. And here's where we look at the monthly search. So average monthly searches, 320, 20, 10. Okay, and we could go through these lists too. There's lots of them. So that's how we would sort by monthly searches. And why I also look at the suggested bid. And for those who don't know what the suggested bid is if I type in cleaning service, do you see these ads up here at the top? They're in yellow, and then on the right. If I were to click one of these ads, depending on the keyword, this is what they're getting charged. So if I Google garage door repair Milwaukee and I click one of the ads, they're going to get charged roughly $13.25. Okay? So that's also a good factor to look at, because with local search, you get a lot of these low volume keywords where it just says 10, or sometimes it shows a dash through it, and it's not a good indication of the traffic that's going to come from it, because Google doesn't always have accurate data when it comes to local keywords. But if I see people are bidding $7.58 or really bidding anything at all, that shows me that that keyword is obviously worth something. You know, if people are bidding on it and paying so much money, then obviously it's a good indicator. All right, so that's kind of my quick breakdown on keywords. And then you pop it into the silo here in order of importance, and you're good to go. Okay, cool. Let's talk about citations. I saw a lot of people talking about citations. So a citation is simply the name of your business that you're working with, the address, and the phone number. So in this case, it would be Handmade Cleaning Services, the address here, and then the phone number. When you have that listed on another website, like local directories like Yelp, it gives your listing power. It's almost like a backlink for your listing. So that's one really quick way to kind of boost your way up. It's part of the algorithm to get yourself up there, is to get your citations on many different sites. So if you're using a tracking phone number, then you want to make sure that that citation is your tracking phone number. It has to match. Okay, so that might mean that you're going back and you're editing their existing citations. All right, so I'm going to grab a drink of water, and then I'll show you more about citations. Okay, so now that my throat isn't so dry, let's talk more about citations. There's a good way to do competitive analysis on citations, and it's this site called Whitespark. It's whitespark.ca. So if you want to write that down on your notepad, be a good idea. Whitespark.ca. So Whitespark lets you type in your location, your key phrase, and then you can search, and it'll pull up this nice little search result here like this. So I did it for roofing in Washington. And it's going to show you the 7-pack, who's number 1. And then it's also, you see this little number over here, 147 for number 1. 147 citations it means that they have. So it gives you kind of an idea of how many you're going to need to go after. And in fact, you can click this View Sources button. And I have to log back in here. Let me pull this back open for you. It kicked me out because I was logged in for so long. All right, so you're going to hit this View Sources button, and it's going to pull open the exact directories that they're listed on so that you can get listed on them as well. Okay, you can actually export this as a CSV file. So what you can do with this list is you can either A, go and manually sign up for them. It's pretty simple. I'll show you a site, just to show you an example. Let's go to hotfrog.com. This is a site we see all the time that we're creating citations on. And all citation sites are going to look a little bit different, but generally they have, something that says add your business, and then you just type in your business's information. Again, make sure, like with the phone number, you put in your tracking phone number. All right? And, you can just create this under the business owner's name, first name and last name. Use the Gmail account that you used for the business listing. And that's it. So you can do this yourself, but creating 147 citations in this case would be pretty time consuming. And ideally, we want to go after a little bit more than our competitor. So, we want to go after maybe 150, maybe 155 so that we kind of outdo them a little bit. That could get time consuming. So what I do is I head over to Fiverr, which is fiverr.com, and I'll zoom in again, and I just punch in local directory. And you're going to get a list of a bunch of people who will do local directory listings for you. Now, this is a person who I use for all my gigs, and you're free to use them as well. Her name is Virtual Girl 2010 is her Fiverr username. So if you want to use her, obviously, it's vetted because I use it. All of my customers use it. 2,077 reviews. So I don't get a kickback for this or anything. I'm just sharing it to be nice. So if you want to use it, go for it. She does 7 of them for $5, but she has these gig extras down here. So she'll do, 45 in all for an extra 20, or 100 in all for an extra 40. So, 100 in all will be $45. So not too bad. I mean, I personally prefer to spend my time doing other stuff rather than creating hundreds and hundreds of accounts. But when I first started off, I was doing it myself. And if you're just starting and you're a beginner, you might want to do that as well. All right, so give me a 1 in the chat box if we're good to go on this. Arthur said he uses them. Awesome, Arthur. Cool. Lots of 1s. Great. Okay, so from here, let's talk about what else we need to do to optimize the listing. So let me show you what the listing consists of. Number 1 is one of the best things you can do is trigger that 5-star rating. Okay, so you do that by getting people to write reviews here. They hit the write review button, hit a rating, and put in their review. So you want to ask your customers, just say, look, you have to do this. Go and get 5 of your best customers or your family or your friends to hop on your page and leave you a review. Okay? It's not too much to ask. If they want to see results, you want to trigger that rating. Not only will it help your rankings, but it's going to boost up your conversion rate like crazy. I'm telling you. I mean, you literally see like probably 90% difference. This is social proof here. There was a survey done on searchengineland.com that said 79% of people trust what they read online as much as they would trust it coming as a word-of-mouth referral from a friend. So it's very important. So make sure that you have that under control. Get your clients to get their friends, family, clients to leave reviews. Okay, so just 5 of them is all you need. That'll trigger the rating. Now, if your competition, on the other hand, has a lot of reviews, like you're in a really competitive area, which I'm going to show you how to avoid those areas coming up here in a little bit. But if you have to, if you're forced into it, that's a factor you want to look at. If your competition has 14 reviews and you want to go and get 15 or 16. Okay, but in this case, only 1 person had reviews, so not too big of a deal. The other thing is you want to complete it all. Look at how much photos your competition has. Okay, so analyze their photos. In this case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I want to go after like 8 or 9, okay? All right, so let me show you what this looks like on the back end. So just an example page that I use for examples. But basically, if I hit this edit button, my listing's verified. You can see the little badge here where it says verified. When I hit the edit button, you're going to notice business info, and over here it says 100% complete. So that's your goal. You want to get that to 100% complete. And that's part of the optimization process. So that means coming in here, adding in your website. So if your client's website's already in there and you need to switch it to yours, then just delete it out of there and punch your website in, the new one that you created. Same with the tracking phone number. That won't trigger re-verification. Okay, as long as you don't change the address, it won't trigger re-verification. Same with the categories. Get all your categories added in there. Hit add another category and punch it in. That's simple. Then save your changes. Add in your hours. Okay, that's going to keep you optimized. Add in an introduction. Tell the visitors, the traffic coming to your page, who you are, what you do, welcome them. You know, maybe put in a few keywords in there as long as it doesn't look spammy. And then you're good to go. So once this says 100% complete, once you have your reviews, once you have photos coming in there, you can manage photos right here, then you're good to go. Okay, that's listing optimization is really easy, right? Give me a 1 if you think that's pretty straightforward. Yeah, lots of 1s. So it's really straightforward, pretty simple. Just don't skimp out on it. Get it to 100%. You just got to go the extra mile. When everyone else is getting lazy and not doing this, all your competition, and you come in and you do just those little extra things, that's what's going to boost you up. Okay? So who's ready to find out how we're going to pick out a beginner-friendly market? How many people here are beginners? Put a 2 in the chat box if you're a beginner. You've never done this before. Okay, lots of 2s. Okay, so let me show you, as a beginner, how you're going to pick out a beginner-friendly market. So you don't want to come in and be competing against the big guns, right? You don't want to be competing against someone like me. So let me show you how to find the low competition markets. These are markets that you can go into and you can just dominate easily. So here's the first thing I look at. In this market I pulled up, the cleaning service one, is a low competition market. Well, at least by this example. I'll show you what I mean if we can get the page to load. Okay, there we go. So the first thing we're going to look at is the star ratings. How many people in the 7-pack, and even if it's a 5-pack or 3-pack, that's fine. But how many people in the 7-pack have star ratings that show up? In this case, it's just 1. So if there's more than 4 that have star ratings, I instantly say, not a match. Okay, cut it off the list. Cut it. Okay, so write that down on your notepad if you have it handy. No more than 4 businesses with star ratings in the 7-pack. That right there is like an instant indication that you're going to have some competition. All right. So let's do another example for this next one. I'm going to type in dentist. I'm going to switch my search tool. Actually, I'll leave it Milwaukee. That's fine. So I'm going to type in dentist. In this example, I have a 3-pack, but let's just say that this was a good market. Let's just say it was a 7-pack. The next thing I would do from here is I would take their domain name that's listed under. So I would look under their domain name, copy it, and I would use this tool. It's majestic.com. Let me grab that URL again. And I would paste it in this search box. So you want to put the HTTP www dot in front of it like that, and then paste in their URL and hit search. So what this is going to do is it's going to take a quick look at their backlinks. We're not going to go real in depth here, but we're going to make sure fresh index is checked, which it always is by default. And the reason why is because we don't want to look at historic data. We want to see like what's happening right now. And we're going to look at their backlink profile. So here we see external backlinks. It says 72, but that number really isn't important to us. What is important to us is their referring domain number, because that's how many backlinks they have on separate domains. in this case, they have 13 referring domains. So although they have 72 backlinks, they're only coming from 13 different domains. And you'll have to excuse my voice. I'm just getting over a cold, so kind of getting choked up a little bit here and there. So my apologies. But does that make sense? They might have backlinks on 72 pages, but most of those pages are on the same domain in this scenario. So in this case, they just have 13. So here's kind of my reference. I want a referring domain number less than 25. Less than 25. So in this case, it looks good. So those are really the two things that I really check over to find a good market. No more than 4 businesses with star ratings, and then a majestic referring domain value less than 25. If you see that, you're pretty much golden, okay? Because you can compete with that. Even a beginner can compete with that. All right, awesome. What was the website for PR Drop? It's prdrop.info. prdrop.info. Cool. Why less than 25? Do we have to build more than 25 backlinks to compete? So yeah, that's what that would mean. That would mean that essentially you would probably need 25 backlinks, but keep in mind, all backlinks aren't created equal. Okay? And you can go after their same backlinks too. Using Majestic, you can come in here and hit backlinks, and you can see what backlinks they have, and then you can go after those if you want. But yeah, ideally that's kind of what we're looking at. And we don't want to go after someone who's got 1,000 backlinks and have to go after 1,000 of them. But you know, all backlinks aren't created equal. So if you get higher authority backlinks, then maybe you only need 1 to compete with 13. So this is just a quick frame of reference to kind of help you along the way. All right, so who's ready to see how we can get some clients now? Who wants to know how to get clients? I promised you that I'd show you that. So I'm going to show you. Awesome, yeah. Blaine says, let's talk sales. Okay, cool. So I'm going to show you just kind of a quick and dirty method to get clients. It works really well. There's some work involved in it. You know, you're gonna be doing some footwork to go and research and stuff. But it definitely works. So I want you to take action on this because you're going to get some great results with it. So do you remember how I showed you this little verified badge at the top of my profile here? And if I go to the actual public version of the page, it looks like this. See the badge right here? Verified local business when I hover my mouse over it? That means that I verified the page, obviously. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for people who have not verified the page. And we're going to use that as a foot in the door. We're going to offer to verify it for them either for free or for a small fee. You can choose what you want to do. So it's your free foot in the door, okay? So let me show you how you find this. Come into, let me go back to Google+. Come into Google+, and you can get to Google+ from your Gmail account. Otherwise, just visit plus.google.com. You can get to it from your Gmail account at any time by just coming up here and hitting the plus your name thing up here in the upper right hand corner. Hit the drop down menu. I think I actually need to go to, I'm going to go in for my Gmail account. So up here where it says plus, I'm going to hit that. Okay, because I was on the business page plus. And we're going to come down on this drop down menu and hit local. Okay, so we're presented with a search box here now. And what we can do is we can type in a niche. So let's say chiropractor. Type in a location. Let's say Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And it's going to show all of the Google Plus local pages or Google My Business pages that are chiropractors in Milwaukee. So we can sift through these and we can open them up and we can look and see if they're verified or not. So this one's verified, we'll skip it. And these are the ones that would show up in the 7-pack too, but we can see more of them. See, there's like a whole list of them. I mean, it would just keep going and going and going. So your opportunity here is really endless. There's an endless amount of leads sources here. Okay, so this one's not verified. There's no verification badge. So what we do is we reach out to them. We have their phone number here. Sometimes we can find their email address. Otherwise, we can probably find it on their website if they don't have it listed. I don't know if we'll find it here or not, but let's see. Yep, down here. info@inviviowellness.com. And we can give them our pitch and say, hey, I noticed your My Business page wasn't verified. Would you be interested in having me do it for you? We're doing it for free. And you reach out to them either by phone or email, offer to verify it for them. That's your foot in the door method. And then once it's verified, right, it's going to, either you're going to trigger instant verification with the phone, otherwise you're going to have to follow up 1 to 2 weeks later with the postcard. That's when you can hit them with your upsell and offer to rank their listing. And then you rank their listing for $1,000 per month is what our typical client pays. Okay, so you can do that manually. Otherwise, I'm sure most of you here have my Maps Mentor Lead Finder tool. How many people here have the Lead Finder tool? If you don't, put a 2 in the chat box if you don't have it. Okay. Lots of people need it. So on my bonus that I'm giving you for sticking around till the end, I'll have a link to download the Maps Mentor Lead Finder tool at the bottom of that page. So just remind me to give you that bonus at the end of the webinar. But basically, it allows you to do this, only it automates it. And I know it's a little small to see on the screen, but you type in your location over here on the right, type in your niche over here, and then you hit search, and it's going to pull them. It's going to pull all the information for you in one swoop. And I stopped it after I got 21 listings, but you could let it keep going. You know, there's going to be hundreds of them. It's going to pull their name, their address, what category they're under, their phone number. It's going to pull all the email addresses it can find. So not just one, but it'll pull all that it can find. And the status of their listing. So we can sort this by non-verified. And I've got 8 records here, just from the quick search I did. My search took maybe like, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds. And, you know, I've got a handful of leads here now to follow up with. Yeah, Jeff says awesome tool. Who here is getting value out of this? Give me a yes in the chat box if this is making sense. Okay, the reason we do this is because people aren't going to give you $1,000 a month right off the bat. People buy from who they know and trust, right? They buy from who they know and trust. So by providing this free service or very cheap service, you know, charge a small amount if you want, you're building up trust. Awesome. And once they trust you, they're going to be more willing to spend some money. Please summarize what verified means. Verified means that they verified the listing. Remember I showed you at the beginning how you can get that postcard sent out? It's where you go and enter your business details on the map, and then it'll either let you phone verify or mail verify. That's what it means by verified listing. Awesome. Any other questions before we move on? Cool. I'm going to grab another sip of water quick and then I'll answer the questions. Okay, how is Google My Business related to Google Places or Google Plus Local or Google Maps? Or are all these still in existence? They're basically all the same thing, to answer your question. Google My Business is the dashboard in which you manage your Google Plus pages. So some people call them Google My Business pages, Google Plus pages, and Google Places is what they used to be called. They are listed on Google Maps. So basically, short answer is they're all the same thing. Okay, cool. David Maps, the Lead Finder tool for that is updated. You just need to go to download the new one. Okay, what is the benefit of being verified? The benefit is that you're going to have a better chance at ranking, obviously, because Google's going to see that you're a real business. So trust factor, people aren't going to trust your listing if you're not verified. And Google just has no idea whether or not you're in business if you're not verified or not. What do they pay monthly for? They pay monthly because you're going to keep them ranked in the 7-pack. But most importantly, you're going to be leasing them your website and your phone number. Okay, cool. Just looking through more questions. After you verify the business, you want it to rank here in regular Google. So in a regular Google search, if I were to type in cleaning service example again, once you get them verified, you're going to offer to optimize their listing, and ideally you'll put them here in the 7-pack. So this is where they would show up. So the listings that we see over here are the same listings that would show up over here once optimized and verified. Hopefully that makes sense. Cool. So let's try a little exercise. Everyone grab a notepad and pen. I want to make sure you guys are taking action. So grab a notepad and pen, and we're going to do a little exercise together. This is going to help you towards getting this off the ground. So I want you to write down how much you'd like to be making per month. Okay, so be realistic with this. How much would you like to be making per month? Give me one if you've got that written down. You can keep the number to yourself. Okay, cool. Now I want you to write down what you're currently making per month. So whether that be, your full-time job or whatever. Because you can definitely start this business, at nighttime, if you have an hour a night or something like that. I've seen lots of people do it. Okay, so you got that written down? So subtract the two. So subtract what you're making now from what you'd like to be making. And then I want you to divide that number by 1,000. That's our, average monthly client pays us 1,000 on average. So that should be how many clients you need to hit your goal, right? So if you want to make $10,000 a month, right now you're making $3,000, let's say, that would come out to $7,000 difference. That's your deficit right now. So that's what you need to come up with. So if we divide 7,000 by 1,000, that equals 7. So you would need 7 clients. Okay? 7 clients. It's not very many, right, guys? Give me one in the chat box. That's not very many clients. You can hit some pretty big numbers with this with not many clients. It doesn't take that many. Okay? Awesome. So, as promised, I told you guys I would be opening up a few slots in my next 6-week workshop that I'm doing, where we work together one-on-one to get this business plan set up for you. Not only do we rank a listing together so that you feel really confident in your ability to deliver value and, work on the leasing, the website model, but we also get you a client or two. That's the goal. The goal is to get you a client or two. And most importantly is we're setting up a sales funnel, okay, an automated sales funnel so that you're not having to email business owners, so that you're not having to call them. Instead, we automate it with Facebook ads and landing pages, and we have clients coming to you. Chat box if you guys understand the importance of automating a business, right? If you can have clients coming to you, that's really powerful. Awesome. So I am opening up a few slots. I work one-on-one with you guys. We hold weekly sessions in small groups half the time, and then the other half of the time we work one-on-one together. So I can only take on a few people. So if you want to apply for this, the link is pauljames.com/workshop. So I'll put that on the screen for you. So you should see that now. pauljames.com/workshop. And like I said, decide what your goal is. And I'd love to be the person to help you hit that. I've helped a lot of people in the past. I've collected some of the recent testimonials I've gotten, and we'll just kind of run through them. So Tom said, so that trick from today's webinar just landed me a website build and graphic design for $6,000 and a $1,700 a month SEO contract. Very cool. That was completely unexpected that I would have gotten this far and have closed 2 new clients even before the course completed. I need to work on scaling this up, so I'm looking forward to the next training. So Tom did extremely well. Definitely one of my better students. To land a $1,700 a month recurring element is impressive. So he charged more than me in that case. Here's another one, Facebook message here you see. So I wanted to just share with you what I've been doing since your course. I have a few clients that I've ranked on Google and I'm getting paid on monthly. Over here, another one, I've already signed up a client for $500 following your webinar. Another one down here, as we sum up this training, I want to thank you. I've tried other systems to make money online. Though this is not the first time I made page 1 rankings, this is the first one I felt offered a systematic approach. I've already landed and taken deposits from 3 new clients. Okay? Not bad for 6 weeks. Actually, it's been 3 weeks, he says, because he didn't start soliciting till then. Okay? This works in any country. I see someone asking, does it work in Australia? Yes, I work with people from Australia as well. From any country. As long as it pulls up a 7-pack, I can help you. I just got this email the other day. This one really made me happy. Because this is why I do this stuff. When I hear, that it's working, I get really excited. It's from Lamont West. Lamont said he was part of my coaching program. He was working for a bank at the time, and he had 0 time to spend with his family. He was working 10 hours per day, 6 days a week, and he was making just enough money to not be broke. And he committed to working at least 1 hour per day towards growing it with my coaching program. And on November 1st, 2014, he started in February. So he was able to walk away from his job, entirely. So he had really good success with it. He was able to walk away from his bank job. And he says here what a difference 9 months can make with the right coach or mentor. So pretty impressive, testimonials there. I love getting them. Really makes me happy. So if you want to take action on this, pauljames.com/workshop is the link. I'd love to work with you. But this isn't for everyone. This is obviously only for a certain number of people. I can only work with a few of you. So you need to be an action taker, not an excuse maker. Okay? And I'm looking for people who are ready to take action today. If you're not ready to take action today, I understand. But just don't apply then. That's totally fine. I'm looking for people who are ready right now. All right? So definitely head over to that link if this sounds like a good fit for you, and I'd love to work with you. And I will answer some more questions now. Okay, Blaine says, do I list the price on my landing page when I send ads to it? No. So we're actually going to focus during the 6-week workshop, if we work together, we're going to focus on setting up 3 or 4 different funnels. Use them for different situations. Some of them work better in different niches, and we go over that. But no, we never reveal the price until it comes time to reveal it. So, we use, just kind of like we used a free offer for the verified hook, we have other free stuff that we use to get their attention and really build some trust up. Awesome. I'm just going through more questions. Okay, what if it does not pull up a 7-pack? Then it's not an ideal candidate for you. Then you should look at a different business to work with. What is the benefit to the business owner to lease the site from you? The benefit is they get to work with me. I require it in order for them to work with me. The other benefit, though, why a lot of clients like that is because they already have their existing customers coming to their website. So they want to be able to see what results I can bring on my own. And a lot of business owners don't like you to touch their existing website either. So it's really a win-win-win when you build out your own website all the way around. I've had very few clients complain about it. Awesome. I'm going to give you access to that bonus that I promised you, the guided checklist, and the software will be on that page too if you need it, at the bottom of it. So you should see that link on your screen now. It says webinar bonus. And then I also put another link to the workshop there. So it's a 6-week workshop. A lot of students get results within the 6 weeks. I want you to take a look at that exercise you did again. Take a look at that exercise. The number that you wrote down. So, if you wrote down that you want to be making 10,000, but you're making 3,000 now, and the difference was 7,000. Look at that number that you wrote down. I guarantee you that the number that you're not making, the $7,000 number, is going to cost you a lot more than it will be to take this program with me. Okay? Think about what you're losing out on. This is opportunity cost. If you're not hitting that $7,000 a month goal, then you're losing $7,000 every single month that you could be making, right? So you definitely need to think of that. Okay, so I guarantee you that in most cases, I would say 99.9% of the time, that the cost to take this program with me will be less than this number here. All right, awesome. I put the link on the screen for the bonus. You should see it. I'll put it in there again for you. All right, guys. So, like I said, I only have a few slots left, so definitely apply right away. And we'll see if you're a good fit. We'll hop on a call if you are a good fit. If I look at your application, I say, okay, I think that you'd be a good fit. I think that I can help you. We'll hop on a call, just me and you. No high pressure sale or anything like that. No telemarketer, and we'll just hash it out and see where you're at right now and see if I can help you and make a decision together. But I definitely want to make sure that you're ready to take action now. If you apply for this, you're an action taker. You're ready to take action today, not next week, not a month from now, not 3 months from now. You're ready to take action today. If you're not ready and you want to wait 3 months, that's fine, but reach out to me 3 months from now, not today. All right. Well, I appreciate your guys' time today. That's all I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this. And I thank you so much for your time. I know it's valuable, and I really appreciate it. So I hope you got a lot out of this, and we'll catch you later.